If you receive our emails, then you will know that a few weeks ago we had some exciting news. Hi, my name's Carol. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here on this channel, I show you how easy it is to make your own jewellery. Our exciting news was that we became the only authorised reseller in New Zealand of Le Pearls by Puca. And these beads are used for bead weaving mostly, but I'm sure I can find some other things to do with them. So what I'm going to do today is show you how I'm going to use these beads to make some Christmas earrings. What I have in front of me is I have 20 of these Amos par Puca beads. These are 8 by 5mm and they are in the colour Silver Aluminium Matte. I have some 11.0 Miyuki silver lined seed beads in the colour Ruby. I have some 15.0 Miyuki seed beads, these are silver lined as well, in the colour green, light green, sorry. And I have some 3mm crystal glass faceted bicones in the colour teal. As well as that, I have 2 jump rings, 6mm silver jump rings, and I have 2 silver ear wires. I've got a pair of sharp pointed scissors, I have a beading needle and some fireline. So let's get started. I've already threaded my needle because I'm not very good at threading needles and it would take me ages on camera. So I've got quite a long piece of fireline here, and I'm going to start by making the inner ring, and I'm going to start by using 5 of my Amos beads interspersed with 5 of my 11.0 seed beads. So I'm going to start by picking up my bead, and you can see there that I've picked it up in the bottom hole. So I've got my needle going through the bottom hole, or the one closest to the point. Then I'm going to pick up one of my seed beads, and I'm just going to repeat that until I have all of the beads on. You'll notice that I didn't put a knot in the other end, and so just be careful not to run your beads all the way off the other end of the thread. So that's what I have now, and you can see that I started with an Amos and I finished with a seed bead. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run them quite close to the bottom of my thread, leaving a bit of a tail, and I'm just going to run my needle all the way back through all of those beads just to reinforce. And I'm going to pull that up to a circle. So that's what I have now, and I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight first, so pulling each end quite tightly. The fire line is quite strong, so you don't need to worry too much about breaking it, but I can see I've got a little gap there, so I'm just going to work it a little bit more until I get rid of that gap. There we go. Now I'm going to take my 2 ends and tie a knot. Now if you pull your knot nice and tight, it shouldn't show. So that's what I have now. And I'm going to trim off that end, the short end. Nice and close, and that's why I've got a nice pair of scissors with a really sharp point, because I can get in there nice and close, and you can see there you can hardly see the end, and you won't see it once it's made up. Okay, so that's the first round of my piece, and what I'm going to do next is come up through the second hole. So I'm just running my thread up the side of one of my beads and through the second hole. And then I'm going to go through the first hole of my Amos beads again. So I want it to sit in there like that. So it's going to sit into that little posi there. So that's the top hole of the beads I've already got on, and the bottom hole of the beads I'm putting on next. Make sure that it's lying flat and it's not twisted. So that's what I have now, and I'm going to go through all of those beads again just to reinforce. So that's what I have now. Now what I need to do is I need to bring my thread, it's coming out of the bottom of this last bead, so I actually need to knead it at the top. So I'm going to take it up the side of the bead through to the top of that one and through the top of that bead there. And I'm going to turn my work over. Now I'm going to take one of my little 15-0 seed beads and one of my red 11-0 seed beads, one of my bicones, one of my red 11-0s and another one of my little green 15-0s, and I'm going to go across the top of this bead and into the top hole of that bead that's sticking out. So effectively I'm outlining the top of the shorter one there, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around. When I get to the last one, I want to reinforce all the way around again. So before I come out of that last bead, I'm actually going to feed through the seed beads as well at this end. I hope you can see that. And now I'm just going all the way around again. You'll find that it tightens as you go round. Now I am by no means a bead weaving expert. I have done it a couple of times in my life and I'm really hoping to learn more. So this is just an experiment that I thought I'd share with you. That's what I have now, and notice that I've got my thread coming out of one of the bicones. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put a row of pretty seed beads all around the outside, and I'm going to start with a little green one of my 15-0s, and then I'm going to put on 7 of my ruby ones. And now I'm going to finish that run with one of my little green ones. So that's what I have on my needle or on my thread. And I'm going to pull it down and put my needle through the next bicone. And what that does is it makes a nice frame around the top of that Amos bead. I'm going to repeat that all the way around. So that's what I have now, and I'm going to go all the way around again just to reinforce. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little loop so I can attach it to my earring, or maybe to a chain, or whatever I'm going to do with it. Okay, so I have my thread coming out of the side of the bicone, and I'm going to attach 8 seed beads onto my needle. And now I'm going into the opposite side of the bicone. So my thread is coming out here, so I'm going to go in with my needle through this one here. And out the other side. Just making a loop. And I'm going to reinforce that a couple of times. Because it's attaching to a jump ring, I want to make sure that it is going to be well reinforced. So going round the loop and through the bicone again. There's my nicely reinforced loop, and I've got my thread coming out of the bicone. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go down through these 2 little seed beads, and I'm going to go tie a knot and then go through that bead just to finish it off. So I've gone down through the 2 seed beads, and now I'm going to put my needle underneath those 2 seed beads so that it's attaching onto the thread, and just pulling it up to a loop, and then I'm going to put my needle through the loop so that it creates a knot, and pull it nice and tight, and I'm going to repeat that. Making sure that my knot is sitting to the side of the bead, not over the bead. Now I'm going through that bead with my needle, and I could repeat that a couple of times if I felt insecure about it, but I don't. And I'm going to cut off my thread there. All right, so there's my little component that I've created, and I'm going to take my pliers and my jump ring. I seem to have lost my other jump ring, it's somewhere here. And I'm going to open my jump ring. If you haven't opened jump rings before, I'll leave a link in the description box below for a video on all about jump rings. And I'm going to thread it through that loop that I made, and I'm going to put on my ear hook as well, and just closing up my jump ring. All right, so there's my one earring, and I happen to have another one here that I've pre-made. So there's my pair. I really hope you enjoyed this little experiment with me, and maybe it'll inspire you to try some of the beads as well. If you did enjoy it, it would be great if you would subscribe to my channel and like the video, and of course ring the bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And who knows what's coming in the future, I might just fall in love with bead weaving, who knows. Remember to check out our Facebook page where we run competitions sometimes, and also our Instagram. And this is going to be my last video for 2021, so I am going to take a break and enjoy my Christmas with my family, and I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas as well. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas.